welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's your favorite level 32 Pikachu, aka the Peace Dealer, here for another episode of Peace Talk. You already know what it is. I'm not going to spend too long on this introduction. Just know this Peace Talk episode. This is gonna be one for the books. This is gonna be one of the for one. So be prepared. All right. I want to give a huge shout out to, let's see, Robin, who has just joined Infinity Club. Robin has upgraded her membership to the Infinity Club, and we have a new Infinity Club member here with Tonchi. All right. And Infinity Club, of course, gives you access to our monthly peace reports. And I've scheduled the Cosmic Energy Tune-Up and Invocation Ceremony. So you'll have access to that too. Shout out to those of y'all in the live chat. KC, you already know what time it is. Y'all have seen me do, pick a card readings and tarot. And one of the people who I wanted to reach out to was Tyler Tarot. And another one who I was going to reach out to was Rich. All right. And thankfully, we got him, y'all. We got him. Could y'all put some fire sign emojis in the chat? Let's summon some fire. Since he is at the celestial level, we're gonna need some cosmic collective energy so we can summon him right now. If you're ready, all right. Show me your fire sign emoji. Show me your fire emojis. I don't even ever do stuff like this. I want to get dramatic right now. This is what's up. Shout out to Ton of Vision. There we go. There we go. Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, Screams of Dragon Ball, I present to you what it do, my brother. How you doing?
What's up, man?
I'm digging the YouTube trophy in the back with the Buddha. That's very zen.
Yeah, I had to do something for this new studio here in Cali.
How much was all that soundproofing?
Actually, it wasn't that much. You get a box of like 52 of the pads for $70, and I think I got like 3 boxes for this whole wall. It wasn't too much.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
good looks. Already dropping game. That's what's up.
Yeah.
For those who aren't aware, what's your sun, moon, and rising?
Aquarius sun, Virgo moon, Virgo rising.
Virgo moon and Virgo rising.
Yes.
No way. Okay. I think I knew the Virgo moon, but I didn't know the Virgo rising. That's what's up. All right, guys. You're literally looking. This is a veteran we got right here. Okay. This is for anyone who doesn't know, right? But I didn't even realize like you're looking at the 3rd stage evolution of me here as a Gemini sun, Capricorn moon. Then you got the next level, Taurus sun, Taurus moon. And then we have Aquarius, Virgo moon. I've always been fascinated about that as far as like what it's like at that level and how you also overcome that kinkunks with Virgo as an aqua sun.
Like, what does that mean? Overcome, what is it?
No, yeah, great question. So basically, like what I've been reflecting on is that you have trines like a Leo sun and a Aries sun, and like they're just very passionate. Like they're able to connect with their energies, and maybe someone like Carrie, she has like Gemini moon, Aries sun, so she's able to just like tap into our thoughts. But then you have like people like us who have like, yep, Aquarius, we know, and you have people like us who like our souls clash with our spirits. So like I have a very unfocused Gemini mind, which I can focus, right? But the Capricorn is very focused. So like it's really hard to put those both in sync. And I was curious how you experience that.
Well, I mean, I'm one of those people that from the minute I set foot on this planet, this may sound kind of cliche because, you know, you hear people say this sometimes, but I've always been really, really weird. Like,
I feel like that's the most Aquarius thing I've heard.
So yeah, from when I was a little kid. Like, when I'm a little kid, I don't even know anything about astrology. I don't know anything about, I'm wanting to make friends. Never had friends. I was always that guy that everybody would point and laugh at. I was too weird. Nobody wanted to be friends with me. I always stuck out like a sore thumb, no matter where I went, no matter what school I went to, no matter what job I worked at as an adult. And a lot of it, I think, looking back, had to do with those energies. I try to reflect back as much as I can from when I was a kid. I've never really been able to be bullshitted and programmed. You know, like they like in school, they were always trying to force me into this box. And it's almost like my brain came with these default settings that wouldn't allow me to take useless information in.
Right.
You know,
oh my bad. I feel like you just perfectly described what it means to have Moon in Virgo. It's like you could at a subtle level filter out what's real and then what's not real. But with the Aquarian, that was amazing. That was it. You're dropping a lot of game right now. So I'm just like, oh shit.
Yeah, but it's kind of like it's more like a default setting. It wasn't something I did on purpose. Like as a kid, if a teacher would hand me a book and say, you need to absorb all the information that's in this book and then recite it back to me on command for no good reason other than the fact that I told you to. Ooh. My brain wouldn't let it happen. My brain won't let it happen. My brain just has
high school.
Yeah.
That's wow. That's amazing.
Yeah. My brain just has this bullshit detector that alerts me this information is useless. You don't need this, you know, and it just won't let it in. It will not. I can focus and my brain won't take it in. So I did horrible in school. They couldn't force me. And I mean, I ended up only spending one like semester in high school, and then they kicked me out, and I was roaming the streets as a teenager. Yeah, so it was rough. It's not been.
I bet you nailed an IQ test though. I have chills right now. Like this is really because I've been really studying the Aquarius archetype too, and I noticed with Aquarius children and the developmental phase, Aquarius as an energy is like from age 60 to 70, and you see this maturity at such a young age to where you already have adult conversations with adults, and it's like they're trying to teach. My bad. Please go ahead.
I was going to say they did. I was been in and out of therapist and psychologist office since I was 4. And then when I was 16, I was formally diagnosed as being 20 years ahead of my physical age.
No way.
Yeah.
You were diagnosed with that?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
This
is crazy. Wow. I'm mind blown.
Yeah.
I'm so mind blown right now. This is extraordinary.
But it wasn't cool back then. Like that, it sounds cool, but it wasn't really cool because I could never connect with anybody my age. Wow. When I'm 15 years old, my best friends are like 30, and they keep forgetting that I'm only 15, and it's been rough. It hasn't been fun. Life didn't start working out for me until I was in my 30s.
Right.
You know, so it's been rough.
I appreciate that because, like, in contrast, as the Gemini sun, like, I've been able to really, like, I have the old soul. I've always felt like I was an old soul. I kind of felt like you, but I was still able to, like, still be a kid, still be super naive and feel like that's what the teachers are doing, but it would still go over my head. And I just really appreciate how, like, it's like you're an alien on this planet, like, oh, this humans, like, what the heck? But like, once again, it wasn't cool. You know what I mean? Like, especially growing up and coming into this discovery, I think I love it. I think it's amazing because, like, personally, even nailing coming into your 30s and having to kind of go through that, which you know, I have so much more questions for you too, but what year were you born? Like 86, 85?
88.
88. Go.
Mhm.
Oh, so you got North Node Pisces.
Yeah.
Nice. That's wild.
And Venus.
So that's even wilder because I learned recently that Moon on the South Node makes for a very ancient soul as well. And you know, barring on that, I was going to ask you about the Moon rising archetype. I noticed the Moon rising archetype gives that like high priestess embodiment or priest embodiment, where you're in Virgo. I could imagine you're naturally intuitive, and like you can understand the details and whatnot, and what you're receptive to. But yeah, that's really, I just kind of like to see how you embody that through the tarot.
Oh, well, kind of going back to what you were saying a minute ago about like the two signs being kind of a contrast, because Aquarius and then Virgo, because at the same time, I'm also, my head is everywhere. It's so loud in my head that I literally sometimes can't hear you when you're talking. Like I can hear that there's noise coming out of your mouth, but my thoughts are so fucking loud. I have to ask you to repeat yourself, you know? And in the tarot, it's weird because I have a really chaotic system that I use that's very detailed at the same time. It's chaos and order at the same time. I don't even really know how to explain it.
You just nailed it perfectly. Thank you. That was that. You're giving me a lot of light bulb moments, so I appreciate that. This is really awesome.
Yeah, you know how like a lot of people they'll lay it spread out and they'll say, okay, well, this right here is what happened in the past. This is what your intentions are, and I don't really do that. Right. Not really, kinda, but 98% of the time I'll throw a spread out, and cards will just yell at me.
Right.
I don't know which ones. Like maybe this one will yell at me, and then this one. And they talk to me. I don't really say it has to be this one. It has to be this one.
You're like actually reading them.
Yeah, well, I let the ones talk to me that want to talk to me. And there's sometimes there'll be cards in the spread that I don't even include in the message that I'm saying. I'll be like, okay, well, those ain't saying nothing to me, so I'm just not even going to mention them, you know?
And I appreciate the way you integrate that, because it took me years of just reading cards to realize, oh wow, like there's a connection I can have with them, to where when instead of trying to like force what the reading should be, it literally talks to me, and I started to like see, oh wow, the images of the cards are actually instead of looking at it individually, like that's that, it's like, oh shit, like this is so like, wow, that's really amazing.
Mm-hmm. And I'm moving up to a level now where I don't really know where this is going. But over the past maybe 6 months to a year, I've got this thing that happens a lot, especially with personal clients, where I'll have the answer before the first card hits the table.
Right. Oh, that's what's up.
Yeah. I'm shuffling and it's already coming through. I already know the answer. So I lay the spread out and I don't even need it. You know?
Right. That's so dope.
So I don't know if that's going to take me to a different level of channeling, because I know throughout my career of being a professional reader, there's been times where I've randomly channeled a message accidentally, and I don't even know how I did it. And I've been wondering if I'm being warmed up for that. You know?
You just nailed it. I have full body chills again. The Kirk factor of because there's a lot of things that I had theories about, right? Like just reading stuff on paper that you're confirming to me is your reality, which is just like mind blowing. The reason why I felt like it was more of a theory to me is because like this science considers this, fantasy fiction or science fiction, and here you are going through this every day. So I mean, it's just so fascinating. And the Aquarius would be in your 6th house, which is just being able to integrate this higher knowledge of what's really happening. But the process that you're showing us of how you're able to just channel this naturally is like, I don't even think science will be able to catch up to that for a while still. Maybe they are, but like Yeah, this is really, really amazing. And someone had asked, what's your human design? Are you a projector?
What is what now?
Your human design?
I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
I
Um,
actually, oh man, I knew that a few years ago. I've heard that question.
is it projector, generator, reflector, manifester, manifesting generator?
I don't remember, to be honest with you.
No worries. No worries. Someone had guessed maybe you might be a projector. But regardless, yeah, the that's a really good feeling too. Shout out to Aquarian Essence, where the first card you pull already like confirms everything you had channeled and said before, and you already know the reading's about to just completely like set it off. Yeah, you know, the what really led you on this path to do what you do, because you did mention very crucially that once again at a young age you had to be an adult.
Well, that is a man. That's a really, really long, fascinating story. But to try to not get too long and drawn out, I don't even know where to start with that. Long story short, what led me to doing what I do for a living. Long story short was I ended up moving to a weird little town where I didn't know anybody. And somehow a video that I uploaded to YouTube about a year and a half prior blew up. And I didn't remember uploading it to YouTube. I was drunk and it blew up. And then it started getting recommended to me in my feed. And I'm like, whoa, I don't remember putting that on YouTube. What in the world? And so I don't even remember how to log on to that account. So I took the account that I had and I'm like, well, it's the same name. It's just my first and last name. So I wonder if the algorithm will link me up to the people who are watching those videos talking about astrological signs, you know? And so I started doing that. And I started running out of things to talk about. Behind the scenes, I was obsessed with these tarot card reading videos because I clicked on one one day and it told the story of a situation that I had been dealing with that I was having a really hard time letting go of. And same thing that leads anybody else to it. And I just became obsessed with those videos and I binge watched them all day, every day, like a drug. And after about maybe 6 or 8 months, I started going a little bit crazy because I found myself spinning in circles. I was like, okay, well, this isn't getting me anywhere. It's accurate, but it leads me to the edge of the cliff and then just kind of leaves me hanging there. And I'm not getting the clarity that I want. And I was like, well, I'm broke. I make minimum wage. I can't really afford to buy a personal reading from somebody, but I can afford to take $18 up to the spiritual store and
Let's
buy
get
me
it.
these little shits right here and learn how to read this shit myself.
Word.
And that's what basically led me to learning how to read the cards. And then the reason I started putting them on YouTube is because with my YouTube channel, I had like 900 subscribers and I started running out of shit to talk about. And I thought, well, I wonder what would happen if I put a couple of them tarot videos. I spent all this time learning how to read the damn cards only to get the same answer that the YouTube readers were getting, you know, and that basically led me to a dead end road. I didn't get the clarity that I wanted, but I wonder what would happen if I put a couple of these videos on my channel. And I didn't think in a gazillion years that anybody would fucking watch it. And it blew the fuck up.
Wow.
And yeah,
That's
and
amazing.
like right after that happened, everything started happening perfectly on time. Me and the girl I was dating got into it and broke up. I had to quit the job that I was working. So basically the universe backed me into a corner with no job, no income. All I had was a phone and a deck of tarot cards, and that was my only source of income. Wow. And yeah, I had to basically take it and run with it, and I just kept it going.
Shout out to corporate Mike in the building. Nice to see you, bro.
Oh, what's up, Mike? What's up, Mike, man? I know Mike.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That is so fucking inspirational, man. I know what it's. I definitely know that feeling as far as like not even expecting, not even knowing what you could do with this, but then just being led on this journey. But I really do appreciate just the blow up quality and the viral quality and the quality you put in too. And what I appreciate about this is, it's taken me once again a lot of years. Which I once again, before I even go into that, what I really appreciate this is you picked up some tools and you literally made magic for yourself. And um a lot of people approach this like it's some kind of magic genie that's supposed to tell you everything that you want to know.
Yeah, I know.
Right.
Yeah.
But you see there's so much like practice, commitment, dedication. It's pure skill, like coming in with the knowledge versus, trying to piggyback interpretations that you can kind of like just make some stuff up with, right? Shout out to Angelique who just posted her first channel message. So w- when we think of I appreciate the subjectivity with the objectivity where subjectively anyone can interpret anything that they read from the cards, but objectively, whether someone believes it or not, if you're good, like you're going to be able to show that skill. And what do you kind of say for people who, and I appreciate, shout out for Tarot for Bros. Tarot for Bros is I was going to say especially men who are kind of resistant to this. I know starting out, it was hard for me to really like open my intuition because I would really try and left brain it and really try and make a system out of it. And it's really hard to just believe that you can even be guided in this process. So, Tarot for Bros, he's also an Aquarius who reads tarot specifically for like men and to give messages from men that come from a man that probably, can bring that masculine energy. But when people from the outside looking in look at this and they see people reading cards, which they mainly would think is like more what a woman would do or more of a feminine practice, and on top of that, they see all these frauds. Like you have all these people who can just give you fake readings, always say what you want to hear, the TikTok readings, and then they see all these people who are like, oh wow, this is accurate for me, just because they told them what they want. And it's really hard for them to really even notice what is a good reading versus what's fake. So what would you say to those type of people?
What would I say to the people who are on the outside looking in?
Yeah, and more so, what would you say as far as like dealing with, filtering what's good and bad and overcoming that skepticism?
Oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, that kind of, again, that's kind of a snake eating its own tail, because you have to be in touch with your intuition anyways. In today's day and age, you got to be in tune. And I'm feeling like in 2023, if you're not in tune the way we've been, trying to help people tune in, then you're just lost, because now you have two groups of people. You have the light side and the dark side. Okay. One group of people is trying to help you. The other group of people is trying to manipulate you and lie to you. And if you're not tuned in by now, then you're not going to know which is which. I mean, that's the only thing that I can really say is you're going to have to approach it with an open mind and pay attention. What sounds real? What sounds genuine? Like, I don't know, somebody like me, I don't know if anybody in here follows me, but I'm not afraid of pissing my audience off. I'm not afraid of it.
That's what's
I don't want to. I would rather not. I'm not trying to piss people off, but there are actually readers out there who will remove all the negative cards from the deck because they're scared of getting mean comments. They're afraid of making somebody mad. They're scared of losing followers. I don't give a fuck if I lose followers. I lose followers every single day. People get pissed off at me every single day.
And then they come back.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I would think that if it was me and I'm like trying to figure out, okay, who's legit and who's not, Well, I would imagine that this person right here, who seems to be speaking their mind and isn't too worried about somebody else's opinion of them, that's probably the person who's legit. And this person here, who sounds like they're just basically trying to blow smoke up your ass and tell you what you want to hear, I don't know. That doesn't really, that's the way I would approach it. And that's the way I did approach it.
Right.
So,
plus, you know, once you actually gain understanding of the mechanics and how to read, it's always better having someone read for you when you know how to read too, and you kind of gain like other kind of interpretations. But yeah, I really appreciate y'all, because we this has been happening for years, and I didn't realize how this in and of itself is a major revolution. Like the tarot has never even been, or modalities have never been shared like this ever in human history, at this rate, in a way that kind of, you know, reinforces and reintroduces this craft to a new, you know, generation of people. And I think in retrospect, it's going to be amazing how this is seen as far as a service done, and truly the magic in it too. The thousands of people helped. What I like about the subjective nature of it is, none of this is really linear. So it's like you might not resonate with a certain message, but then it may hit you later. The understanding may unveil later, or it usually hits instantly. What I started respecting, as far as like, especially with pick a cards, which is very fascinating with your intuition to pick the right one. But even if not, what I started to notice is that the first 3 seconds, like the very first thing that is said in the reading, or within the first 5-10 seconds, when it's on, it's on. Like it's no mistake for it's, and that really, that I also give as advice for anyone who usually wavers and like feels kind of unsure, which I know when I started off, I used to feel that too. Like, is this right? Or am I supposed to do it this way? And I really realized, like, when it's right, it's right. Like, there's no doubt in your mind. It speaks directly to your situation. And what do you feel about that conviction as well?
yeah, that I think is a psychological art form in and of
Yeah,
itself, being able to stay in that flow state. Because I won't
right.
lie, I still have times where that left brain tries to kick in and say, "Wait a minute, does that make sense?"
Right.
And you know, that still happens from time to time, but and I'm very open about it. I'll be live with 5, 6, 700 people watching, whatever, and I'll let you know, I don't know what to think. I don't know what to say about that yet. I don't know. Or sometimes I'll say, you know what? Let me clarify this whole spread. This isn't making sense to me, and I'm very open about it. I have nothing to hide. But yeah, that's definitely an art form that took me a minute to master, to be able to trust yourself. It's all about self trust.
Trust. Oh yeah. That's what humbled me very deeply. Especially being insecure, having imposter syndrome. You know, in service, we would, in consultations too, you would feel like, did I even, I hope I made sense to this person. I hope like
Mhm.
this actually, and it's always rewarding when they're like, you have no idea how on point this was. You know what I mean? And it's like,
Yeah.
you're right, I really have no idea. So the feedback is so amazing. But now it's gotten to a point with trust where it's like, even reading it, you know, it's like, oh yeah, like even if I don't know the details, it's like, okay, I know there's something being told here. So, you
Mhm.
know, it's and that's what I want to kind of return to, the journey and the process of this, because as long as I've been doing this, I can't even say that I'm even close to knowing everything about it. And there's just so many layers that are unveiled and so much you learn.
Yeah, and also too, if I can, like I was saying earlier, my story, I gave you the very surface level of it.
Right.
To dig deeper, it goes a lot deeper. My primary area of expertise is actually manifestation. That's all I ever set out to learn. And leading up to the point where my tarot business manifested, I was on a manifestation journey.
Wow.
And I was just, because I stumbled across law of attraction when I lived in a homeless shelter, and I just became addicted to it and obsessed with it.
All right.
And in 2017, one thing led to another, and I ended up attending a mind mastery school
Nice.
that was actually founded and taught by somebody who is very closely connected to people who have sat in the highest positions in the world.
Wow.
And this is how I was forewarned that the pandemic was coming. I was forewarned about all of it. And that's all I ever set out to learn. And I actually learned the science behind how manifestation works. And there is science behind it. And matter of fact, the person was a former NASA scientist who taught this school. And so the only thing that I was doing was I was trying to manifest my own business. I just had no idea that this was how it was going to happen. So
Right.
the way I have integrated using the tarot, because I'm thinking, okay, well, at first I didn't want to be a tarot card reader. I didn't even want that. And the reason being is it's because most of the people who are coming to the tarot, they're coming looking for me to answer their questions.
Right.
Like, you know, and ask what future is just going to happen to them. And
Exactly.
I'm like, well, the future doesn't happen to you. You create your future. And I've dedicated my life to learning how to create your future. So I can't tell somebody that the future is just going to randomly happen to them when I know how to tell them how to create it.
Right.
So the way I've chosen to use the tarot is I use this like a diagnostic tool.
Right. Yes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I
that's
use
so
it to, I read the energy of the situation that you're in and how it was energetically manifested. And I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time telling you what future is just going to randomly happen to you. To me, that would be like taking your car to a mechanic and him telling you, well, it's going to break down in 3,000 miles and not even doing anything to fix it.
Right.
So that's my primary focus, is seeing the energies of everything that manifested. And I'll tell you where you're most likely headed if you just let life happen to you on autopilot. But I'll tell you the energetic tools that you can incorporate to actually develop your own relationship with the universe so that you can take control of your life. You can take control of your own energy, and you can start navigating timelines yourself and take control of your own energy. And in doing this, helping people take control of their own energy, and the blindfold will come off. People will spiritually awaken by default.
Yes.
When they start doing this. And this is how I've been using my career to awaken the masses. This has been my goal during this whole transition that we've been going through.
Beautiful. Once again, full body chills. That nature of tarot, once again, especially in reading, which I noticed early on the same thing, where I guess because of the reputation this has of fortune telling, people see us as fortune tellers and want us to tell their fortune. And these sessions end up being more, less about the reading and more about changing the mindset. And that became super evident to me when I started practicing manifestation. I started practicing manifestation. I've been doing it my whole life. Everyone does, but like I wasn't aware and started consciously doing it until like a year and a half ago, maybe even just half a year. And it made me realize the difference between people who give their power away to these external tools and versus people who use them like you to give the power back to the people who you're serving. So I love this direction of manifestation. I have a lot of stuff to ask you about that as far as making sense of that, but that has been such a rewarding and freeing opportunity to always I used to be irritated, and I thought it was cliche when people would mention to just write things down you're grateful for and to have gratitude, because I felt like, okay, I don't have to do that, like I can just assume that, right? And I can, but it wasn't until I realized, wow, like now I understand that function of gratitude. Like every moment that I have is a moment to create more of what I want, to focus on more of what I want. And it's helped me now look at the tarot as a tool I could use for magic and what I want to manifest with these symbols and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like hang on, let me show you one thing that I do. And this is just, I'm not saying that do this. This is just something that I choose to do. Where are they at? I walk around with this in my wallet, you know,
That's what's up.
the manifester, success,
Right.
my marriage, you know,
Okay.
just to have it, you know, like Jim Carrey said, he walked around with his $10 million check in his wallet. I walk around with these tarot cards in my wallet, you know, you can like really whatever tool that you need, but you know,
it's not, and for people to clarify, it's not the cards that manifest it. It's you using the cards to right. Okay.
Yep. It's really you that does it, you know, and with what I really try to do though, like you hit on something a minute ago when you say that sounds so cliche, and I've noticed that is a big hang up spot for all of us. Is we hear these things that are so cliche and they fly over our heads.
Yeah.
So I've been dedicating my life to figuring out how to take those cliche things and put a little hook on it so that it doesn't go in one ear and out the other. It actually gets stuck when it goes in there and you think about it and you're like, wait a minute, I never thought about it like that.
Right.
And yeah, that's the fire that burns inside of me is to, and I'll tell you the reason why, because remember how I told you I was in that mind mastery school? Well, the only reason that I attended that school, which wasn't cheap, by the way, was to figure out how to manifest money. That was all I cared about. And the instructor, the guy who was teaching the courses, he would say that this has nothing to do with money. He said, the fact that you can use it to get rich is just a bonus. He said, these teachings are designed to save your life. And I'm like, save your life? What does that mean? And he said, and this was in 2017.
Yeah.
He said, there is a plan in place to collapse the world's economy, overthrow the United States, depopulate the planet, and turn this into a totalitarian one world government. He said, it's right around the corner. It's coming a lot sooner than you think. When that time comes, there's going to be so much confusion and so much fear that if you're not a master of your own mind, you're fucked.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what that meant. I was like, what the fuck is this dude talking about? And then
chills.
One thing led to another. 2019, I made my first 6 figures. And I'm like, yeah, it worked. But then I was like, wait a minute. So if his teachings were really legit, then what about this other thing he was talking about? You know, so I'm kind of like looking over my shoulder. And then 2020 hit. And then that's when it all started making sense. Oh, okay. So all I have to do is teach you how to take control of your own energy. And once you start taking control of your own energy, the blindfold comes off and you start seeing who has been manipulating you.
Yes. Oh, yes. You touched on
and all these games they've been playing for the past 3 years, from the virus and the vaccine and the race wars and the men versus women and the black versus white and the trans versus the straight people and all this bullshit. It won't work. It won't work. Whenever people start learning how to take control of their own energy, it won't work. And that's like the fire that burns inside of me is to pass this message on to as many people as I can, you know?
Yeah. And I'm glad you referenced the last 3 years, because that was the biggest lesson for me. 2022. That was the hugest thing that rang the most deeply at my core. And you articulated it so perfectly in that, there is, relative to this return of all this collective awakening, I think a much more powerful way that people are awakening the ability to control their energy and to manifest. But if they can convince you that that's pseudoscience and not even real, and that to give your energy away, you're literally going to die. This is what rang really true to the core, that the last 3 years was really training. And that moving forward, like if you don't trust yourself and even like the slightest of things, you will die. Like basically that. And I've just been so grateful that, this power that's existed within us has been right under our nose the whole time. And I'm just really honored to be on this journey with you and everyone watching, once again, I really feel like these are historic times. Everyone does, right? But like we're gonna look back on these times as like, wow, we were really here. We were really doing the work. And I like that you also mentioned, you know, as far as directing energy, the Virgo I learned is analysis and Aquarius is science. So I love how you articulated that, especially with the moon in Virgo, you can understand how with the Aquarius the science works and then make it very practical in a way that people can live, which is just so necessary, you know, and um amazing to see now too, knowing that Saturn has like finished returning. And that's another thing, knowing that you're born in 88, we both have Saturn and Capricorn.
Oh
And
yeah.
right, unless yours is at the end of Sag, but if it's in Capricorn, I know it starts at 88, that triple conjunction. And what I realized is that Saturn, Capricorn, Uranus, and Neptune in Capricorn is a once in a lifetime alignment that really pushes the envelope for anyone born after the 90s to really tap into this next level of power. And 2020 was when we returned that power. And 2022 was when Saturn and Aquarius finished manifesting the knowledge of that power. So relative to our Saturn return, it's like we had the car come back from the shop, and then in Saturn and Aqua, we manifested like in the electrical department, you know, the electrical wiring for the car. So now Saturn and Pisces, it's finally blossoming. And 88 is first because you guys had it at the beginning, and me born 1990, I'm going to come into it like 95. So what is that like, that Saturn sextile from Pisces to Cap?
Oh man, I mean, if you're referring to what you said about, are you talking about like from 2020 when everything finished manifesting?
Yeah, so I like that you said finished. The Saturn return for you completed 2020. So if this theoretically would mean that your power has returned, like you've completed, let's say manifestation power, you're just your superpowers.
Yeah.
How is it now versus when you just returned it?
Well, it was weird because I didn't even know what a Saturn return was until somebody explained it to me, and you literally read it out of the textbook, and that's what happened to me. And it was right there in my late 20s. But it was a really difficult transition because there was no lead into it. Maybe a little bit of a lead into it, but for the most part, like I said, my whole life, not just most of it, my whole life, nobody liked me. I never had friends.
Right.
No matter what job I worked, no
That's
matter what city I lived in, people always made fun of me. I was always the guy that nobody ever wanted anything to do with. I was a loner because I was just so fucking weird.
the hermit.
And yeah, and
Right.
then
Wow.
right there, the year I turned 30, overnight, over fucking night, now everybody wants to hear what I have to say.
Wow.
Everybody views me as this respectable, wise person and I didn't react to it very well at all. I had no lead into it because
Right.
I'm comfortable with that. It's all I've ever known. I just kind of expect that, yeah, there's no point in telling these people anything. They're not going to listen to me. There's no point. And I was okay with it. I was cool with it. That's all I ever knew.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I have tens of thousands of people pursuing me on the internet, and I didn't know how to react to it. And honestly, I kind of reacted to it a little bit negatively. I don't know. Let's see. You just discovered me. Me and you just connected back in 2020. So this was a little bit before then.
Okay.
So like right there in around 2018, 2019, I kind of went through a period where I was a little bit angry. I was kind of angry and pissed off and a little bit irritated because I had just written off, okay, well, I'm done trying to, help people understand things. I'm done trying to explain things. I'm just going to take my knowledge and everything that I know, and I'm going to use it for myself. And then now, all of a sudden, now that I've let that go and I've agreed that I don't want to try to help anybody understand shit, and I'm just going to, now the universe is throwing tens of thousands of people at me that need my help. Fuck that. And I was kind of pissed at first, a little bit. And it, because it didn't really make a lot of sense to me.
Right.
And it was very chaotic, honestly. It was a very chaotic, scary, nerve-wracking journey. I don't know. It's been a wild ride, man.
I
Big
love
roller
the way
coaster.
you said that. You even it sounds familiar. Thank you. You just helped me heal from what I was subconsciously processing, but the way you said it just brought light to what that feeling is, because the reason why I feel that what I have to tell people is of value, and the reason why I have confidence being like, yeah, I know my shit, like, this is what it is because of all the people here in the live chat and all the people along my journey that were like, do you know, like, you just changed my life, or do you know that this really helped? Because everything around me in my life, my family, my friends at the time, when I was learning how to do this at first in college, where I would just ask people like, what's your birthday? What's your birthday? And most men would be like, that's for the girls. Like, I don't want to do that. And so, you know what I mean? Like, just kind of, I've never really been taken seriously ever in my life. Like, when people kind of see me doing what I do, it's like, oh, you're just doing another thing right now, right? So I didn't even really think or feel that people really cared what I thought or said.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? More than just like a joke, which I guess, it's easy to just kind of be really goofy around stuff. But yeah, that kind of led to some kind of bitterness and jadedness where it's like, oh, kind of getting paranoid and feeling, oh, like, um is it now that I'm getting attention that you used to act like this before, or stuff like that? And
Mhm.
not really to anyone in my real life either, but just kind of like that feeling that I can't really trust too many people.
Yeah.
But especially now, as far as embracing manifestation, learning to focus more on what is positive and not positive, what is good for me, what I actually love, and not to really keep repeating that same story over and over and over. But I
Mhm.
appreciate how in your case, you have Saturn right next to Uranus and Neptune, and I've always seen Uranus as like an overnight thing. But behind the sun, it's like you had to release a lot of um all of that. I just think that's super symbolic though, and speaks to a lot of us. Which true, as an Aquarius sun, my spirit is individual in Gemini, but in Aquarius, it's God level, it's collective. So a lot of I like to see Aquarius suns like Kid Cudi, you know what I mean, as like voices of the generation. And how aware of you are that, of how your words kind of speak to entire collectives of people? Does it feel like you're a mirror where the stuff that happens in the world happens to you, or yeah, what's that like?
No, I like, kind of like what I said a minute ago about how I at one point let go of the idea that, because my whole life I've had this fire burning inside of me that I have to teach people something. I just didn't know what it meant, and not in like an I'm smarter than you, or but I knew that it burned deep in my soul. And again, that was another thing that made everybody not really like me, because I wouldn't just fall into a crowd, and I would always be the one speaking out, telling the truth, and people don't like that. But now it how does it feel? That's a good question. It feels like I have a hell of a responsibility on my shoulders. Like every time I either pull my phone out and pull the camera up, or I go on here and I open up my mouth, I feel like I'm on duty. Like my words, there are people out there who are taking my advice out there into their life, and they're making life decisions based on what I'm saying. And I don't think that's a game. I think that's very serious.
Yeah.
There's so many people out there who they don't give two diddly shits about anybody out there. All they care about is their own popularity, their money, likes and clicks and comments and all that bullshit. And to me, I feel like I have a job to do. I feel like it's not a game to me. It's not a joke. I take it very seriously, because I mean, you can say what you want about the tarot. There's people out there that say, oh, that's airy fairy mumbo jumbo. Okay, fine, whatever. But there are people out there listening to my words and taking my advice and using it in their life. Call it what you want. That's what's happening. So I have a responsibility. My job is to give you advice that I know works, that actually is backed with science. It's just not mainstream science. And it, to me, I guess to answer your question as directly as I can, I feel like I have a responsibility. It's like if you could imagine, you are a manager at a company and the operation is on your shoulders. I feel like I have a part of that with at least a portion of the collective, the portion that listens to me,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was really well said, especially, lots of false prophets out here. I was very naive. Like a lot of people know how to use their charisma to rope people in. And what I realized is that just because someone has skills with what they do doesn't mean that they have integrity. That's what I had to learn. Like I used to feel like, wow, well, this person's so on point. They wouldn't necessarily like scam me or like take advantage. And some people are really good at and talented, but they have horrible business ethic. They don't necessarily know how to run a business. So they just kind of take money and then don't take responsibility. But Devin wanted to know what your wife's sun sign is. She's dating an Aquarius, or she's with an Aquarius herself.
She's a Sagittarius and she's also a Virgo moon.
I knew you were gonna say that. Oh my god. The woman who asked is a Sagittarius with a Virgo moon. Who's with an Aquarius. That is
Wow.
Synchronicity of the day. That's so what's it like to have a Virgo moon with your partner?
Let's see. It's very helpful for growth. Very helpful for growth. Because it depends on what facet of our life. Like, especially with business, it's very, very, very helpful with business.
Right.
But some where we experience the majority of our challenges is when we're trying to complete a task together, like decorating the house or something like that. Okay. And that's where we get too much into critiquing each other because
I wish I was a fly on the wall for that.
Now, it's funny because for me being a Virgo moon and rising and her just being a Virgo moon and she's a Leo rising.
Leo, okay.
Yeah.
Dramatic and extra.
Yeah, but she's also so much more of a perfectionist than I am. Ooh. I mean, dude, it's got everything has to be so perfect and in order and every little detail.
She's the queen. It has to be regal.
Oh man. Yeah. And we just kind of, bickered at each other a little bit earlier over a little detail that I missed on something.
Why is this off 0.02 separate?
Yeah.
Yes. That is amazing.
Mm-hmm. And but again, it that's what's helped us grow together because you can just take a look at pictures of us from back when we first met. We're both completely unrecognizable. We both bring out the best in each other, and we have made quantum fucking leaps in evolution. And we actually had somebody read our charts, and she said, "Wow, most astrologers would probably look at this chart and say that you all are doomed," because I don't know what this means because I don't know about all that, but it was all these squares all over the place. Square. And she said something to the effect of that most astrologers would think that is, the two of you are doomed. But this gives you all the ability to actually work together and overcome challenges and obstacles together, which is what we do. We fucking like it doesn't matter. Like me and her, we have this.
It's like a best friend connection.
What's that?
It's like she's your best friend, even if you weren't like together like that. You can.
And the level of trust, and not only that, but she reads my thoughts. Like it scares me sometimes. Like she knows what I'm thinking. She hears my thoughts. She speaks my thoughts, and we just have this connection that's beyond words. And the level of trust between us is just fucking phenomenal. It's amazing. It's unlike any connection I've ever had in my life. And that's the reason I married her. But
was she also born like in the 80s or 90s?
No, she's 92. But my favorite, and I think this is probably a lot to do with her Virgo moon too. What really sealed the deal, and the reason why I went ahead and agreed to marry her, is because she is the only woman I've ever met in my life who actually owns her shit and works on herself. Every woman I've ever dealt with in my life, They take no accountability. All they want to do is point the finger and blame everybody. And we're all toxic. We all have work to do on ourselves. And I'm all about working on myself and growing and evolving. And if you want to be on my team, you got to be about the same shit. And she is. She's very, very self-aware. She's very critical of herself. She's constantly working on herself. Like, I can actually sit and watch her acknowledge like a character defect that she has and get to work on it and change it. And I'm like, oh,
that.
damn.
Yeah.
I was
That's
like,
really
okay, well, that's what certifies you for me. If you're willing to, you know, work on yourself and grow and evolve, that's all you need to be on my team, you know?
And you also confirmed, you at 88 and her at 92, both of you, your composite sun, that astrology you had was really good, because that's, people really like to be fatalistic and see the negative aspects. When we look at the composite, both of your suns, her Sag and your Aqua, meet in Capricorn. And this is where like Pisces, Scorpio, Sag, Aqua, they have the greatest relationships. Because of like their relationships are the greatest of all time. But then y'all have the Uranus, Neptune on the sun, which makes it supernatural, very etheric. And I've always kind of wanted to research what that's like, and you literally nailed it. You know, I have a story of where I was with Anne and a few people in Cali, and we were sitting around, and I was reading a chart and I noticed that someone had alien constructs, and then someone else wanted their reading. It was actually no. Well, someone else wanted a reading. Craig wanted a reading, and we found out he had an alien construct. And then everyone else that was at that table, we were all aliens. We all had like an outer planet that was on our sun, moon, or rising. And then I was kind of marveling how we all know each other through David. And David is the Leo king. Like, he literally has the sun, and all those planets revolve around the sun. And I was like, wow, this is how Leo like brings like a whole fucking world and universe together. And I really admire your collaboration with him. You know, I really feel like he's always needed an Aquarius to partner with, especially his late father, who's an Aquarius. I didn't realize that until I saw your dynamic with him. And I feel like you're very solid of an influence to kind of, you know, match his energy. And I'm really excited to see what both of you do together. So what's that like? You know, how did that come together? And I know you're there to do that, but like, yeah, what do you like about it? And
Well, it's kind of an interesting story, because he bought a reading from me about a year ago, and this surprised me. I thought, whoa, that's weird. I didn't know I knew of him, and I've watched a couple of his videos, but in my mind, I automatically wrote him off as somebody that I didn't think would like me, because, and I hate to use these terms, but for the point that I'm trying to make, I don't have any other terms that I can use, but he's more of an alpha and I'm more of a sigma.
right.
And a lot of times alphas don't really like me,
Right.
because of that. And so I just kind of thought that he was somebody that wouldn't even like me. So I'm like, he bought a reading from me. That's cool. So I did the reading, and then didn't think much of it, but I'd see him in my comments section from time to time. And for some reason, I got this funny feeling to reach out to him. I don't know why. I don't really know anything about him. I knew nothing about his operation that he had going on, knew nothing. So finally, I couldn't scratch that itch of, you know, getting that feeling to reach out to him. So no, hang on, go back. I'm talking to my wife one day, and we're in conversation, and he came up in Instagram, and I said, oh, so I guess he's over there in Huntington Beach. And she said, oh, Huntington Beach, that's 20 minutes away from my mom's house. And I was like, oh, really? Okay. So I reached out to him on Instagram blindly, randomly, and I said, yo, you're right near where my wife's parents live, where my in-laws live. Yo, let me get your number, and maybe we'll hang out sometime. And he said, cool. He gave me his number, and then let it go. That was it. And when it came time for the holidays, about 6 months later, we ended up finding out that for Christmas, we're going to her parents' house. So I was like, oh, that's my chance. So I hit him up. I said, yo, we're going to be around for Christmas. You want to meet up and maybe hang out for a little bit? And I ended up meeting him up with him there at High Vibe Studios and whatnot. And had no clue that he had that operation going on. That blew my fucking mind.
Yeah. Oh, it's nice over there. Well, you know.
And then, yeah. And then one thing led to another, and I don't really remember how it happened, but he invited me to do a speech at his New Year's Eve event. I'd never done a speech before in my life. I was scared to fucking death.
Oh,
and the night that we did that, all 2022, I've been feeling it's time for me to grow my career and expand. I just didn't know what to do. I've tried all different kinds of things. I even started a new YouTube channel where I was interviewing people and whatnot. And so the night I went to go do that speech, I just approached him and I said, yo, would you be interested in collabing? And he said, yeah. I said, because our lease is up, this spring, and we don't know where we're going to move. We can't figure out where the hell we want to move. And shit, if you're interested in working together, we'll
you were in Vegas at that time, weren't you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's deep. Okay.
Yeah, I was in Vegas for the past 3 years. And I said, we're not sure where we want to move. And we didn't want to extend the lease another year because, we just felt that it was time to go. And I said, if you want to work together, shit, we'll move here. And he agreed. And yeah, we just agreed right then and there before I went up on stage and did my speech. And we had one little phone call, and he said, here's kind of my rough idea of what we're going to do. And I said, okay, well, I'll let you know. And then I moved here and we went and met up a couple times and batted some ideas back and forth and had a real loose, didn't even really have a solid idea. We had a very loose idea of what we were going to do. And then finally one day he just pulled the cameras out, hooked up the mics and, went live, and it turned into what you see. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, and I'm going to be starting tomorrow, I am starting a whole series on High Vibe TV on the manifestation path and the manifestation journey, where it's going to be like once a week. I'm going to break this down into like a 6-month long series of the manifestation path, what it really means, how it works scientifically, how it works neuroscientifically. I mean, I'm bridging the gap between the brain science, between the quantum physics, and connecting it because my goal is I want people to know that I don't care who you are. If you're a human walking around on 2 legs on planet Earth, I don't care where you're from. I don't care how old you are. I don't care what your race is. I don't care what your religion is. I don't care where you grew up, your sexuality. You can use this in your life. And I want to be able to explain that in a way that no matter who you are, if you want the knowledge, you can take that knowledge and figure out how to apply it to your life and see results, not just sit and spin around in circles. All these other people out here that teach this stuff, people just get addicted to watching their content, but they don't see any results in their life. Like, I want to be able, the highest compliment that I get paid, and I hear these compliments all the time, like when I first started listening to you, I was living in my car. Yesterday, I just signed the papers. I own my own home now, and I just had a random $11,000 check show up in the mail after, and I hear these things all the time. And I really want to take it to the next level because, this right here is one of the things that we're going to be needing to integrate into this awakening. And with meeting with David, he's given me a platform and all the equipment and everything to be able to help carry out that mission. And me and him are teaming up and joining forces together to keep it going.
I love it. And I know with those type of tickets, I think he allows for you to buy the course separate. Mm-hmm. So I'm definitely going to cop that. I can't wait. Please keep me posted. Is there any message with the tarot you can bless us with?
Did I what?
Is there any message with the tarot that you can bless us with?
Oh, random freestyle advice?
Yeah, see what you got for us.
This is what I do at the end. Well, this is what I've been doing at the end of my May monthly readings. Random freestyle advice. Okay. Oh, the Five of Pentacles. Okay. I like that one. Hang on. All right. Okay. Yeah. There's actually a few of them here, but I think I'm going to hit on that one. Okay. When it comes to the way you perceive your life experiences, specifically challenges, obstacles, and problems, or just life in general, there is two different lenses that you can view life through. One way of looking at life is through the lens of paranoia, paranoia. And the anecdote to that is pronoia. Okay. Paranoia is the mindset that everything that happens to you is happening to you to hurt you, to oppress you, to hold you down and hold you back. Pronoia is the belief that no matter what happens to me, it's happening to help me. Like no matter what challenge I experience, no matter what obstacle I face, and whichever lens you choose to look through, you're right. It doesn't matter. Whenever you experience any kind of challenge, obstacle, or problem, whatever you choose to believe that is, that's what it is. And the way that we view life, love, relationships, the things that happen to us in our life, the way we look at the world can be changed. We actually have the ability to rewrite our neurocircuitry with thought alone. Just like the muscles in your arms. If you keep constantly lifting weights like this muscle will grow because you're constantly, repetitively forcing it to do this movement. Same thing with your brain. If you constantly force yourself to think the same thought over and over and over and over and over, it will write itself into your neural circuitry and then burn itself into your subconscious mind and run all by itself on autopilot, just like a computer program. And that is the primary mechanism in actually changing your life experiences. And I think for the people here who are watching this today, that's one of the strongest pieces of advice that I can give you, is that no matter what you're going through right now, you have one of two ways that you can choose to perceive it. This is happening to me, or this is happening for me. Neither one of them is right until you choose to believe it.
And not surprisingly, at this point, you literally answered the next question I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you if you can give advice about manifestation, and you nailed it. That was literally perfect. Thank you so much again for joining us on this Peace Talk. I have the link to your YouTube down below for anyone who wants to join. Like I said in the beginning, this is going to be one of those, top 10 Peace Talks, and you have delivered. This has been really amazing. Also, like I said in the beginning, I'm like, if you think of Pokemon, right, as like the 3-tier stage evolution from like Charmander to Charizard, right? I like to keep a lot of what I teach basic. I want to teach it to a way that like a baby can get it. So just like I'm the Gemini Cap Moon, Rich has the Virgo Sun, the Virgo Moon Aqua Sun, and that's literally the third highest final level of what I represent. And I love how our wavelength really does reflect that. Everything that I've spoken and shared about manifestation is really more embracing what it is at that grounded base level. And so for those of you who want to go deeper into that and know how that actually works, Rich is your guy. Okay. Trust me. If you haven't subscribed to him yet, do so. And yeah, is there any way people can reach you if you have any services they want to gain from you? And yeah.
My website, actually my wife is the operations manager of my LLC, so it would be her that you'd be communicating with, but my email address is tarotwithrich@gmail.com, and that's all one word. And my website is tarotwithrich.com.
All right. tarotwithrich@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
And then, oops. And then tarotwithrich.com. There we go. So I have put those links in the description box right now. If you refresh the page, you will see them. And brother, thank you so much again. This was very necessary. This is very enriching. You stay blessed as always. Definitely gonna stay in touch, and you guys might see another collaboration fairly soon. But regardless, you all have a blessed week.
All right, have a good one, man.
Woof. All right, peace out.